Yet again, I find myself warning you that what you're about to hear contains some horrendous, graphic details, but I feel that we owe it to the victims to be brutally honest about the nature of the abuse that they experienced. If there was an epidemic of white British taxi drivers raping underage Pakistani girls, do you think that Channel 4 would have run a programme last night about it being fake? No. Well, here's what Channel 4 did do yesterday evening.
First saw the Facebook post, stood in the kitchen at home. It was shocking.
Ellie Williams claims she was being exploited at the hands of an Asian grooming gang.
There's a post on Facebook, you're implicated.
The threat to me now is real.
A shocking three-part series, giving a voice to those at the centre of a devastating lie.
I had all these strangers giving me abuse.
My life went upside down.
Clearly a lot of people believed that she was the true victim here.
You told continuous lies. I've got to wonder where they've come from.
Why? There's got to be a reason.
Blew all of our minds.
The entire world is now talking about the fact tens or hundreds of thousands of working-class white girls were raped by Pakistani gangs right across Britain. And Channel 4 aired the show The Fake Grooming Scandal. How scummy is that? The detail emerging of 13-year-old girls being anally raped by hordes of Pakistani men. Girls in primary school uniform being raped in Hull. And Channel 4 puts out The Fake Grooming Scandal. Heads should roll over that. And Channel 4 have got form for this. In 2004, they delayed a documentary into the abuse after police forces warned the evidence of, quotes, Asian men targeting young white girls could inflame racial tensions. Over to the BBC now. They did the same thing years ago. They put out Liar, the Fake Grooming Scandal. That's the same BBC that when the Telford grooming scandal broke, they initially only put it up on their local Shropshire page. One girl making up allegations, we do a documentary on it. Tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of girls being subjected to a conveyor belt of rape and torture by the BBC's beloved Pakistani community. That's just a local story, is it? That's just a local story. They're all at it. The dam burst on Britain's rape gang shame over the weekend, and on Monday, Keir Starmer had a press conference. The establishment media had their chance to ask about the victims, to ask about whether multiculturalism has failed, whether Keir Starmer failed in his role as Director of Public Prosecutions. They just asked him about Elon Musk.
Forgive me for going back on Musk's attacks. He said you should be in prison. You're a lawyer. That sounds libelous. Will you take legal action against him?
On Elon Musk, I do need to ask you this. He called your safeguarding minister, Jess Phillips, an evil witch. Does that sort of abuse of a minister make you feel angry?
Do you have any reaction, Prime Minister, to a post by Elon Musk this morning?
Step forward, our political editor, Christopher Hope, who actually got stuck into the detail.
Why didn't you order a national public inquiry to join the dots between 50 towns, not 6, barely mentioned in the J report? Are you afraid it might expose failings as your role as a DP?
Exactly. And last night, Jess Phillips was wheeled out by the BBC, Sky News, whose presenter Beth Rigby, I think, has actually done podcasts with her, and ITV. And all they really cared about was how she was doing.
Being in the spotlight like this and the intimation of what Elon Musk is, the disinformation, as I believe the Prime Minister referred to it as, has put out about me, it's endangering.
It's endangering you. I just want to be absolutely clear. Are you saying that as a result of some of Musk's tweets, the threat to you has gone up and things are in place to protect your safety?
Yes.
Well, eventually, one of them got round to asking if she'd actually spoken to any victims.
I haven't spoken to them. I'm very much hoping to do that and arranging that.
Oh, right. Oh, OK. That should have been the sole focus of the interview. What is she doing to sort this out? And the answer appears to be precious little, actually. The Guardian have got a lot to answer for. The truth about Asian sex gangs. This is an article that they ran. It includes quotes like, the current obsession with Asian sex gangs focuses too narrowly on one dimension to this crime, making the emergent profile of the Pakistani groomer misleading. It's also unhelpful because there are more than 1 million Pakistanis in Britain. Well, you're right, it is unhelpful, actually. The truth is unhelpful. To Guardian readers, to Channel 4 and BBC News editors, to everyone in the lovely left-wing media class who've rammed diversity, integration and multiculturalism down our throats and demonised anyone who dared criticise it and tried to silence people with concerns about Pakistanis raping young girls on an industrial scale by calling them a racist. And I've got a theory about why the establishment media are doing their best to do a PR exercise for Jess Phillips and to minimise the scandal of Pakistani rape gangs. I think they probably voted for Keir Starmer. They let the victim down decades ago, and they're letting them down again now. Let's get the thoughts from my panel this evening. We've got the Director of Popular Conservatives, Mark Littlewood. We've got businessman and activist Adam Brooks, and we've got broadcaster Nina Mishkov. Mark, I'll start with you. Yeah, we're going to get stuck into the actual votes that happened later on at 10 p.m, but the way that the media has gone about this, the timing of that Channel 4 documentary.
I think your peroration there, Patrick, was particularly apposite. What's happening here is this is a complete threat to their paradigm view of the world. And the view goes something like this from the liberal metropolitan media, that a multicultural society in which people of all faiths, cultures, backgrounds, beliefs merge together will be better than the sum of the parts in all cases. We are now learning through hard reality that is not true. That doesn't mean that you need to be a monoculturalist. I mean, I would say the Indian community is integrated into the UK sensationally, the Jewish community sensationally. But I'm afraid that the entire melting pot doesn't work. And Channel 4, if you like, are basically the equivalent of the Flat Earth Society, refusing to believe photographic evidence from NASA. That's the equivalent of where they're at. It is literally that. And the Flat Earth Society refused to accept any evidence and then produce, documentaries saying that it's not true, the sun isn't doing this. And it's such a shift and a change. And this is going to, I think, be a catastrophe for the liberal legacy media, rightly so. Charlie Peters of this channel, I think, has been the heroic journalist on exposing this doggedly. And it raises some uncomfortable truths in the public domain and in Parliament today. And that's going to reset the public debate here. But I'm afraid this rather cuddly view that multiculturalism works for the betterment in all cases has been proven wrong.
That Channel 4 thing really wound me up on numerous fronts, actually. Not just the timing of it, but the fact that that story had already been told by the BBC years ago. It was a rerun. They chose now to put that rerun out.
Look, I was flicking through the channels last night and I come across that and I was horrified. I put a post on X saying how disgusting that was. Again, as a father, I think I'm the only one here with young kids. The thought of what has happened to these young girls it's not just angered me, but it has upset me. And I think it's upset the whole nation. And thank goodness we've got someone like Elon Musk telling the world what evil has happened here, because it's been brushed under the carpet so much. And now we've got channels like Channel 4 wanting to sort of negate the whole story by using one example that was possibly fake. Now, there is possibly hundreds of thousands of young grooming gang and rape victims we are now being led to believe. One case does not negate the whole narrative. This is the biggest national scandal of my lifetime. And Channel 4, come on, this is the channel that allowed a trans woman to play a piano with his penis on TV. They're a joke. I hope they get defunded.
Nina, do you think that the establishment media are complicit in this cover-up?
No, I absolutely do not. It was a Sunday Times journalist, Andrew Norman, who broke the story in 2011. And the Times consistently had front pages, so they're about as establishment as you can get. And you mentioned that in 2004, Channel 4 delayed the broadcast of the documentary made. It was called On the Edge of the City, by the way, and it was about how mothers were trying to prevent their daughters from being groomed by these men. And they may have delayed it, because if you're advised by police or local politicians that this is not going to help whatever situation they see. No. If you are advised by the police, then you take note of it. But the fact of the matter is, they still went ahead and broadcast it. So you can't say that they cancelled it. They broadcast it. As for last night, I didn't see last night's programme, but there has to...
I think that's interesting, Nina, because at the time when the police told them, and by the way, these police forces, as we now know, were slow to act and did not do
Yes,
it.
absolutely.
And in some cases were actually, complicit in the cover-up. They, on the police advice, they shelved the documentary for a period of time. But with all of this going on, knowing that we were going to get a vote in Parliament tonight, or having a good idea that we were going to get a vote in Parliament tonight, they still went ahead and did that documentary last night. Do you know what that tells you about the psychology of some of these people?
Well, the fact of the matter is, you have to have balance in everything. You have to have balance whether you like it or not. Ofcom will keep balance everywhere. And editorially, they have every right to make a decision about that.
So one case...
No, they weren't saying one case but blotted out the rest of it. They were just saying that's not all...
You have to have balance in political coverage. OK, so you probably want somebody from the government side and somebody from the opposition side to have a debate. In investigative journalism, you don't need balance. You need to be absolutely dogged.
Yes, but
when the Washington Post brought down Richard Nixon, they weren't balanced about Watergate.
No,
they went through.
They're saying the thing is that they're not saying.
You're right, the Sunday Times has done some good work here.
No,
Peters,
beyond good work. They're the ones who started it.
What is the mainstream media of this country has not been putting this front page forever and demanding and naming public officials who should be in prison for the cover-up. This, frankly, makes the post office scandal look like a rounding error from all the horrors that were... I'm wondering Channel 4 tomorrow night might have a documentary on there was a computer that worked in one post office. I mean, it's unbelievable.
May I remind you that the most important thing in whatever we're discussing tonight as those girls and young women.
And they now need to get justice.
But then I said... The story needs to be out, but let me just point out something to you as the only woman on this panel, that this is very much not just this particular story about race or culture or religion, one against another. It is a gender issue. It is men. It is men. You can take this situation. You can take a different situation in France. Giselle Pellicot.
This is about.
No. Let me just finish this. This is men. And there are some men who are like that, and they're not all Muslim.
But
this case, I'm saying it's more important to me. There is more important to me.
There is a pattern, Adam, is there not, in at least 50 towns and cities right across Britain of Pakistani men committing an industrial scale abuse.
It's horrendous. It's shocking. It's horrendous. It's shocking, and it should be stopped.
That is undeniable, and people, even from them communities, are admitting that is a problem within that community. Now, we've got to remember, we have councillors involved, we have policemen involved, we have MPs involved. This went all the way to Gordon Brown, and these girls were let down from the very top to the very bottom. And it's a scandal, it's a shame, and they need justice, Patrick.
They will get justice.
This is the number. This
government has put... Your mob, the Tories, did nothing with that report. There were 20...
But at least now something's going to give... This is the nub of the issue, right? You can argue, and it is indeed the case, that quite a lot of child sex abuse is white men on white girls. But there's no evidence that public officials are involved in covering that up.
Yes. Exactly.
What is enormous about this scandal is police officers, social service officers, politicians, local councils seem to have been complicit. That's the huge scandal, and justice requires those people are called out.
We're going to be returning at 10 p.m. to talk more about the political stuff that we saw in the House of Commons today and what the ramifications of that mean in terms of an inquiry. I've got to just say Gordon Brown denies in strong terms any personal wrongdoing when it comes to anything in relation to this. Channel 4, a spokesperson told GBNews, the programme does not minimise the very serious issue of sexual exploitation and its impact is explored in the programme, including an interview with a survivor who bravely shares her own experiences. It also explores the detrimental effect that false allegations, such as the ones Ellie Williams made, can have for genuine survivors of these crimes. And the BBC have said the BBC has provided extensive coverage of grooming gangs across its output, from BBC News reporting on criminal trials to our award-winning drama Three Girls. Liar, the fake grooming scandal, follows a case of Ellie Williams and was publicly established in court. It makes clear and acknowledges that these false allegations of rape are extremely rare, but they are made, and when they are made, they can be very serious indeed. GB News approached The Guardian for comments, but they did not respond. Maybe are they on strike again today? I don't know. But anyway,